My name is Victoria Miles. I am the Rebecca and Jack Benaroya curator here at the Tacoma Art Museum. And tonight I have with me my lovely friend, Umar Rashid, AKA Frohawk Two Feathers. Umar Rashid is a Los Angeles-based artist, a multidisciplinary artist renowned for his vivid reimaginings of colonial histories. Through painting, drawing, sculpture, storytelling, he constructs alternative histories and narratives that intertwine fact and fiction, often spotlighting the experiences of marginalized communities that are omitted from traditional accounts. His work delves into themes of race, power, empire, and resistance, also blending influences from hip-hop culture, ancient mythology, and 18th century colonial aesthetics. Please join me in welcoming my friend, Umar Rashid.
Settle down.
Thank you all. So Umar is here with me today. So as you all know, we are sitting in the 1-2 punch, 100 years of Robert Colescott. Last year marked the centennial of Colescott's birth, and we both had the lovely opportunity to curate exhibitions for his centennial.
Yeah, I'm actually sad you got to do the last one, but we'll talk about that in the parking lot. Oh. However, after I'm getting stomped, anyway. But I would say like this exhibition compared to mine is just lovely. You did a knockout job. I mean, there's so many Colescott works, but a lot of them are damaged.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and that's what people don't really understand when you're curating the show. You see images that you really love, but you can't access them because, there's water stain here, and this one looks like it was run over by a bicycle, and so it gets kind of strange. And so what you have and the way you were able to coalesce all these really seminal works from Colescott, because he was quite a prolific person. I mean, artists generally don't live that long. The average American artist has the life of a jazz musician in 1964. So if the heroin doesn't get you, life will. But it's really interesting how he was able to manufacture so many works, because there's not any overlap between our shows, except I do see that you use some of the monochromatic paintings that I used in my exhibition that I did last year at Bloom Gallery in Los Angeles. And it's just amazing, and just given his great body of work and the fact that he lives so what can happen if you live long enough, and all the wonderful things you can make in comparison to now, where everyone's so afraid to have a voice. I just talked to a friend in Los Angeles, and we were talking about right now the Freeze LA Art Fair is going on, and there's just a lot of really wimpy art there, because everyone's so afraid of this administration and so afraid to speak out. Now, I'm not asking for everybody to speak out, It's nothing worse than the cacophony of reactivism or reactionary activity. But what is necessary is you got to speak out in a way that you can, like if you make art that's not, all the flower paintings, we saw those in the 1800s because no one had flowers. The reason why people painted fruit, because no one had access to fruit. If they saw a pineapple, they painted it because the pineapple was they used that pineapple for like several parties until it wilted and no one ever got a chance to eat it. And you see these lovely pears in these arsenic-laced dishes or lead-based cookware. Anyway, I can go on forever, but what I want to say is that you did such a wonderful job at putting this together because these pieces are absolutely gorgeous. I had the whole catalog in front of me, and you got all the stuff that I didn't get because they knew this show was coming. So I'm low-key hating a little bit, but
Stop.
because haters gotta hate. But since we're on stage together, I will reserve that for the parking lot.
We're friends.
Yeah, we're great friends.
And no parking lot.
Yep. Sharpening my blade right now.
No, I think your show.
18th century whetstone.
I think your show at the Bloom was amazing. It was titled The Anansian World of Robert Colescott.
Yes, so if for those who aren't familiar with Anansi is the Ghanaian trickster deity. And Anansi was a spider. And so, spiders, what do? They weave tales, timelines, storylines, all these things. And so when I was approach with curating the show, it was just after I had just done my last exhibition with the gallery, and the gallery is now closed, but they asked me, they were like, wow, you put stories together. I was like, yeah, it's kind of in the description. But so I did the thing, and I really got into Colescott's work. And in 2019, I did a show at the University of Arizona Museum where I was where Colescott worked during the last days of his life, and I became familiarized with his work there, and then when they asked me to do the show, I was like, yeah, cool, this will be great. I didn't realize what a momentous undertaking that was because Colescott was a very polarizing figure, the way that he saw the world, and given the way the world is now, is often at odds with each other because it's very, women are objectified. Everything is, not everything, but a lot of things are very sexual. And it was kind of difficult for me to tell a story in this time about Robert Colescott and not talk about the other half. And it's interesting because there was just an article today about Willie Colon, Puerto Rican salsa trumpeter, recently passed away. And, not to offend anyone, but he was very vocal about this current administration and in praise of it. But he had done so much for the culture. So at what point do we separate the artist from the art? And that is going to be a lifelong dialogue that we must have and we must talk about at all times. But in Robert Colescott's case, with his issues with identity, his issues with how he projected himself through the world, because Robert Colescott was a very fair-skinned black man. And at one point in time, he actually kind of passed for white for a long period of his life. And I believe it was when we went to fight in World War II. He was in France.
He was in France.
And he was the student of Fernand Léger. Mm-hmm. And that influence, you can see kind of like that Parisian 1940s era Parisian art. It's always like maintained throughout his long career. But then, when the civil rights movement came up, then he, started to talk about blackness and talking about it in a very jilted, very comedic way. Because sometimes, when you see there was a quote from a friend of mine years ago, and he was like, the court jester was the only person who could make fun of the king and not be beheaded. And so going back to the trickster paradigm, he was a trickster in that he was able to say everything he needed to say through a comedic lens and through a lens of reality that allowed people to get into his work a lot in a very profound way. And I think it was just magical the way that he did that. And being a curator of Colescott's work. I mean, I think you, again, sorry, I'm going to praise you about 2 more times, and then we're going to put the kibosh on that. But I just think, like, you know, the way you like, my show was more monochromatic, but you found these wonderful, like, the colors and the tones and the way that the space was designed for this is just chef's kiss.
Oh, thank you, Umar.
You're welcome.
I feel like
2 more times.
no more times.
No, it's gonna be 2. We gotta close it out on a flourish.
You're right, we should. This piece about Colescott and coming into his Blackness was, for me, a really important part in my approach to curating the exhibition. I was so curious about that kind of coming into self, and I feel like, you know, sometimes, I feel like often, many Black folk, we have moments where we come into ourself. Colescott's was definitely different. One of my favorite works, The Virgin Queen, which is right behind us, is this very large, colorful, just explosion. You really see Colescott come into himself and start to explore these ideas of race in a really interesting way. So that grayish figure in the work is actually this metaphor for his mother's racial passing. And so he went to Egypt. He was the first artist in residence in Cairo. And, you know, this is the first time he's around people who look like him, and he's just like, wow, Egypt is where it's at. There's Black folk out here, I'm out here, I feel good, this is good. And you just see that come alive. I think it's so inspiring.
Yeah, but he still struggled, and you know, I'm just gonna say it, like, even being a Black artist to this day, you know, we still have to play the role of the trickster in order to not necessarily infiltrate, but just to move into all these different spheres of beings. And, you know, I just got back from Delhi. Before Delhi, I was in Kenya, and, you know, just traveling the world. And then the problem I see is the same. The world has been poisoned by colonialist indoctrination, and it really hurts our efforts at creating what I like to think about as like kind of like the Star Trek universe that should be, because how many years have human beings been on the planet, and how many years have we been dealing with these same issues, and we talk about them every generation and they never seem to change. But that's not to say that, you know, every white person is your enemy or every Black person is your friend. It's just to say that they're bigger fish to fry. You know, we gotta not move past it, but we have to, you know, just take a moment, understand each other, and like kind of move forward, because there's generations growing up now who are indoctrinated with computers and all this stuff, and, you know, the world that we see now is going to change so drastically within the next 50 years. AI is going to take most people's jobs, and we're entering a new hyper-industrial age. And we all know what happened with the industrial age. Now, the artists, your Dadaists, your futurists in Italy, your constructivists in Russia, you know, we see what happens when we fail to recognize our humanity and address our humanity first, and instead allow it to be aped by technology. But if it's technology powered through the mentality of people who think like we thought before or how we think now, then that is not progress. That is running around in the circle. So, kudos to Robert Colescott, and this is the next to last time I'm gonna say great show. Sorry, I mean, these things can be incredibly tedious and boring. Like, I don't like to talk, I mean, I can talk forever about whatever, but I just think, you know, you're here, I'm here, we're sharing the same space. Let's have a few chuckles, because it is funny when you really think about it. It's so sad, it's funny. But the Colescott, so you were talking about his Egyptian period, and that was another interesting mark before the Civil Rights Movement. I forgot to add that in. And yeah, so in my show, I had some of the Cairo drawings that were in that show. And that was, wait, are there any from the Cairo? Which one?
Just the Virgin Queen. So this really,
Wait, so that was the only one from there? Oh,
the only one in this show, yeah.
interesting. I didn't see that on that 1,000-page dossier that I had to choose through.
Oh, I should share, this is in our collection. So we have,
Oh, that's why I didn't see it, because
Yeah.
it wasn't available to me.
we just kind of got lucky.
Thank you, Tacoma Art Museum,
Thank
for
you, Tam.
ruining my day. Thank you very much. I got some hot water. I like to throw on something. These paintings will not melt. No, they will not. Like the Wicked Witch of the East. So that's okay. I just want to talk about that. Why? Okay. Yeah, it wasn't even in the. All right.
Yeah.
I wish we would have talked about that during the walkthrough earlier, but it's okay.
Yeah, these two works, actually, the Sumi Ink, the Untitled Figure Study,
Okay.
and the Virgin Queen are in our collection. So the Virgin Queen, Colescott spent some time in Seattle, which I think is super cool.
He did, he was everywhere.
He was everywhere, especially in the Pacific North. Well,
Yeah.
on the West Coast, he was just through it.
Yeah, but I don't know, I wish I could have met him. I saw his office in Tucson, and it was just it was in the basement.
Really? What was that like?
It was kind of weird, because when I went there, they were like, and this is where Robert Colescott used to work, and it's thousands of meters of pipes, and it's this dark corner, and that was his office. I was like, U of A, you could have done better. Because Tucson might as well be a foreign city. Tucson, if you haven't been, you should go. It's a crazy place. It is, I understand why he wanted to live there towards the end of his life. It is just it's not like a New Orleans where you have history meeting the future and everything, or it's not I would say Seattle, but Seattle's been so corporatized now, I can't really talk too fondly about Seattle, and we're just going to leave Portland out of the equation. However, I do believe that he moved where his energy needed to be to create the things that he needed to create. And so there's this whole metaphysical aspect about his work, the wolf on the outer,
Yes.
the wolf, the series, the wolf, that transformation drawings, and he was a trickster and alchemist and all these things, and I'm so happy to be able to see this body of work, because I haven't seen it because it was in your collection. Yeah, hot mics. So. Because I skimmed through so many works, but I wanted to make a show that really talked about the trickster for my particular exhibition. But it was also, he was coming up on his 100, his centennial, and so that was just really fantastic. And even towards the end of his life, when he started doing all the mosaics, I don't know, there was a show at, I don't know if anyone's been down to Los Angeles or saw the Keith Haring show. But most art greats that we know of, when you look at their work, towards the end of their life, everybody kind of goes into a kind of collage or abstraction, because I think they're just tired. I think they're just really tired, and I hope I don't get to that point. I hope I just get murdered in the streets, but I have something that I have to sell, some gems, somebody can sell my blood soap, whatever this is that I just picked up. Anyway, I'm talking about myself. Sorry, I got I'm not ADD, but I got stream of consciousness. I just like to talk about everything that everybody might be feeling, because I'm just conjuring all the energy in the room, and I can feel it. And but what was I going to say about the last thing? And then meeting his children,
Oh my gosh.
meeting Colescott's children, and that was really interesting to hear their stories about their dad. And they absolutely adored him. And he wasn't like the quintessential dad. He moved through life like a cyclone. But he managed to cultivate certain pockets in his journey. And so what I like to do when I see an artist that I like, if I like their work and I like them as a person, then it broadens the experience for me and it makes them greater. But an artist whose work I like and they were a terrible person, it's like, yeah. And an artist who is a great person and a terrible artist, then it's, handshake time.
Just good.
Or a Jimmy John sub. Like here, you're gonna probably need something to eat because your art sucks. Sorry. But I taught at Claremont Graduate University doing the plague, and I remember speaking to my students, and I would always ask them, are you doing this because you want to do it, or are you doing this because you think this is what other people will like because of the time that you're in? Never make work for the time that you're in, because life is timeless. History repeats itself because human beings are so stupid that they do the same thing over and over again. So this might as well be 1648 or 1372. It doesn't matter. Human beings don't change. Well, we haven't changed as a species because we haven't even recognized we're only one single species yet. We think that we're all different. No, we're not. We are one species of people on the planet. We all bleed, we all poop, and we can all make babies with each other. And Colescott's babies,
They're beautiful.
are
They're great
sweet
people.
babies.
They really are.
They are very sweet. I had the opportunity to get wasted with them a number of times in LA. I wish that didn't happen, but it did. But in drinking and communing with your fellow human being, you realize
We're all one.
that you're not, nope, not that.
Oh.
Okay, we've already established that. But what I'm saying is we realize that some people just can't hold their liquor.
Oh.
So, so how, when you got the whole dossier of Colescott works, how did you decide to put together, because I know you painted the walls, and you made the colors, I don't know, it's just, okay, this is the last time. This is the last one I said 2 times. So yeah, everything really, really works. Even like the monochromatic pieces are just fabulous the way I would have never thought about painting the wall fuchsia, but I also didn't think I really got the nod to do such a thing. I think they were like, just make it happen.
Oh.
And I made it happen.
When I was thinking about this, I really wanted to show a side of Colescott that I felt was not seen as much, and I really enjoyed that. I feel like we are almost like akin in spirit. Yeah, and this very playful, colorful, satirical, humorous nature. And so I was really drawn to his cartoonist exaggeration that he really honed in on in the 60s. But also how that developed into this 1-2 punch strategy. And I wanted to bring that out. And in talking with Cooper, I was like, this is kind of where I'm going with this. Cooper is Robert Colescott's youngest son.
Yeah, is the youngest.
And he kindly connected me with the gallery that was hosting Colescott's work at the time. And as I'm thinking about okay, I really want to bring out this and this, it's also a centennial, and I want to make sure to honor the family. It was really for Cooper, he really just wanted his father's work to be honored. And for me, I just wanted to be like, how do you want people to see your father? Like, this is what I'm thinking, but what are you thinking? And one thing he shared was his father's love for music. And so Stella by Starlight, it's probably one of the first works. She is this right in the middle, next to September Morning Devils and Beaver Valley. But he's like, my father loved music, and I feel like that doesn't get like brought out as much. And so this was just one.
There were a lot of musical references in a lot of the paintings that I saw, but I chose to. I mean, I didn't gloss over them all, but I had to do like a whole. So I just figured out what would work. But I have another question for you. What do you think about Colescott's portrayal of women?
Oh.
That's a loaded question, and I'm
No,
sorry I
not
had
at
to put
all.
you on the spot, but.
You know what? And this could just be me. I personally enjoyed it.
Okay.
I like really enjoy that more crude kind of vulgar honesty, and I just feel like that is when you really get to like just honoring how an artist is authentic in what they're seeing and what they're feeling, even if others in society, or maybe it's not societally acceptable. I'm just like, well, he's just reflecting back to us what so much of America has put out in ads and pop culture.
Indeed. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I was recently, before I curated the show, I was recently introduced to his work, and so it was difficult for me to, like, wow, can I show this? You know, am I gonna get canceled? I mean, I was thinking cancellation the whole time. But, you know, if I decide to do something, I do it, you know, and I do it not for me, but I'm here to talk about them, and this is his thing. And if people take some particular umbrage with the way he portrayed women or people, I'm just bringing you the work and you talk about it. But that's interesting. Authenticity, and I think that authenticity is one of those things that is on the chopping block these days. Because you see people sell out for a dime. I mean, a penny. They wouldn't even make them anymore.
For real, no more pennies.
Yeah, but copper's actually, I don't know, like copper. I got a copper bathtub.
How do you do that?
I do. It's lovely. It's broken. I gotta call the people when I get back to LA. Yeah, no one needs you to hear that. But anyway, so, but copper has a lot of medicinal properties as well. But yeah, but you see people like just throwing away, just throwing something, and that's the reason why I think, recently I've just noticed there's been a rash of like suicides and deaths in the world because everybody's just inundated with so much information, and a lot of it is true, but we don't really need it. We don't need it because we never had it. Like there were people who read the morning paper every day. And I was like, why would you read this? I look at American news. I'm in India. I read the American news, and it's like, it's never good. And all the other stuff you want to read about, like happy things, is behind a paywall. So we're inundated with negativity every day, every single day, and people don't realize the power of art and the power of just, people being free with their thoughts and not being reactionary and learning how to move through and coast through life. And I'm not saying it's never going to be easy. Life is always difficult because life is life. However, I do believe, in the power of art to transform our perceptions.
Yes.
However, we choose to listen to blah, blah, blah. And, every day it's like the Epstein files. It's like, okay, who's going to jail? Is anybody in jail yet? No? You got Prince Andrew paraded through the streets, but, he's probably going to be in some comfy prison in Scotland, golfing every day. Like, true justice is cosmic. It doesn't happen by people punishing other people. It happens John Lennon was wrong because instant karma is not going to get you. Time is the true decider of our fate. But it's a catchy song. I do love it. We all shine on. It's like the moon and the stars and the sun.
I think it's so funny.
Sorry, I'm getting old. I'm getting old on you.
No, I think that's real, and I think it's real. Rock out.
I love that song.
I feel like when I thought about the women and his works, I did not feel like I'm going to get canceled, but one work in particular.
Uh-oh, which one? Let's point it out. That one? The Mae Weston?
No. Happy Darkies. This is one of my favorite works.
Oh, yeah. Happy Darkies got me with a glance.
This is one of my favorite works. And it's like, that is the point where Colescott was just kind of like, all right, I'm in it. Like, we're doing this satirical, funny thing. We are flipping it on its head. And I just love it. But I just felt like, in the space in which I work, like I work in a museum, it's a very kind of white institution. So I'm thinking, can I show this? If I like put this out there like that, like, if they don't see like this is me, the curator, thinking that, I worry that it reflects on the institution and maybe that message not getting across. But I just felt like Happy Darkies had to be in a Colescott exhibition.
I didn't see that one. I would have probably put that in my show if you hadn't chosen it.
It's perfection.
Yeah, because, again, he was a trickster. He was playing with all the notions of race. And, currently, this means nothing to anyone except for me, or maybe it does. I'm reading, not reading, I'm watching The Godfather of Harlem right now. And, it's this fictionalized tale about Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm X and the Italian mafia in Harlem in the early 60s. And when I first started watching it, I was like, wow, this is really amazing because they're taking all sorts of liberties and extending stories and moving things around. And then, as you get into the seasons, it gets more fictionalized and I'm like, But, I realized they had to do that in order to keep people interested in the narrative because we, as a society, think that racism is over. Well, some of us do, not all of us. But it's very difficult to, as a Black artist, to make work that reflects our the dichotomies between the white world and the Black world and all the other worlds in between. And then you have sexuality, you have gender, and you have all these other things that you need to talk about and address. But I was recently, this panel I was on in Delhi, I was listening to everyone speak and I was like, wow, okay, we all have very salient points, very valid things to say, but we have to start on one thing, conquer that, and move on to the next thing. But the part of the game that gets washed over everybody is we throw so many things out there. And so you have so many more groups and that's going to take so much more time to get resolved. We got to just tackle things one by one. And I'm not saying I am running for president on Mars next year because there's already a colony. I'm just going to be myself. Anyway, but I'm just, we really have to start thinking about the way we look at it. And I know we're talking about Robert Colescott, but we really have to start thinking about the ways in which we approach life in a very serious way. And the worst revolutionary is a reaction. We cannot react to what's going on.
That's so real. Because
that is what's always been here. That's the monster in the closet. That's the boogeyman. I'm not afraid of the boogeyman. We should not be afraid of the boogeyman. What we should be is more fortified in the way that we talk about things and the way we move things to the forefront, even though it may be uncomfortable at times. So this is not a praise of you. This is a praise of the institution. Thank you for having this show here because people need to see it, especially in Tacoma. It's not in Seattle, where everybody thinks everything is good. Maybe. I don't know. It's here in Tacoma on the other side of the Puget Sound where the water's a little murkier and the restaurants a little darker. And the soy sauce. No, okay. No, actually, I will not put this place on blast.
You don't have to.
Okay. But I had some very salty food yesterday that almost put me back in the hospital. But, you know, and don't mistake my levity on these things, these issues, that I don't care. I mean, you know, but I'm not here to yell and scream. I'm here to make dialogue. And whatever way you can make dialogue, whether it's through humor, cynicism, whatever, like, let's just have this conversation because it needs to be had once and for all before, you know, we all become like bot farms or whatever, and, you know, we're eating Soylent Green, and only a certain portion of the population understand what Soylent Green is. You know, they're making a new remake of Logan's Run. I was like, yeah, that's probably going to be the future. I'll be long dead by then. Well, actually, cryogenically preserved for future generations. I will never die. You can call me the Lee Majors, $6 man.
I just have to.
$6 whole.
I just have to,
Sorry.
yeah, shout out Miss Jessica Wilkes. So, right here. Sorry. She is our director of curatorial.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Looking at you. Yeah.
And thinking about the show, so actually, before even meeting Cooper, I really wanted to do a show about Colescott. I was kind of like plugged out.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, so this space for the current we announced it as a permanent space. And I just remember going into Jess's office and being like, I'd like to do a show for Colescott. I'd like to do a show for Colescott to open this permanent space. But like, we have 3 works. One we don't have on view in here. It's Eastern Barrier. It's also really rad, but it's very mute. The colors are mute. It's monumental, but different. And we're just like, well, we gotta find, you know, people who could loan the work, X, Y, Z. Jess went off to Tucson, met Cooper. She's like, actually, I met someone, and we connected, and Cooper was like, I want to celebrate my dad's centennial. He was just thinking a post, and I was like, I'm thinking exhibition.
Oh yeah, and that was great because, and I actually, you know, having gone through, I was just in London and I saw Kerry James's show in London, and being there and seeing this, you know, equal grace to Robert Colescott. I mean, of course, Kerry James Marshall's still alive.
Right.
But, you know, not many people know his work and his genius. But it was so amazing to walk through that gallery at the Royal Academy and seeing people, you know, just really like absorbing his work and taking it in. And he has so many things to say. And I guess now this is where I segue again. Not the segue. What's that thing called? The roller thing? It's a segue, yeah. So I'm going to segue into how we view a lot of, so I'm here to talk as an artist and as a fan and curator of Robert Colescott's work. I think during the Black Lives Matter movement, there was a move for a lot of museums to champion Black art because it's pretty much underappreciated in the United States. In Europe, like it just goes on and on and on. But in the United States, it gets almost zero visibility. And after the Black Lives Matter movement, we begin to see more people taking chances with art that is made by Black Americans in institutional spaces. But now, here, let me dial that back. So with the institutional recognition, then we got the gallery representation of Black artists. But now what is happening, which no one knows about, is this kind of a silent killer, Now, people, collectors, a lot of major collectors have almost abandoned black artists now. So while it's still circulating in institutions, collectors have abandoned supporting black artists. And I saw this coming a long time ago because, you know, whenever something gets so big and everybody thinks they need to have a piece of it, it's just like hot dogs or coney dogs. No, we're not talking about conies. What's the Seattle dog with the cream cheese? What's that called? It's really called a fucking Seattle. Okay.
He said Coney because I'm from Detroit.
Detroit. I was thinking of, okay, so the Seattle dog with the cream cheese, you know, okay. I've never had one. I would like to try one, but not today. But the sad thing is, and I've seen it for me, and I've seen it for my colleagues, that people have stopped investing in black artists. And that's part of the reason why I've gone on this kind of world tour, because America has given up on black artists in the financial sector. But Colescott, going back to Colescott had to travel the whole world just to get recognized. And you're brave enough to put this show on in the middle of this. I wouldn't even call this fascism. This is almost like a clown show, whatever we're in now. It doesn't even make sense. But, you know, everybody has their donors. And I know that we got to appease this person, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. I get it. You know, I get all the things, but we have to stick together and make sure that all Americans from all creeds and everything are represented in the narrative, because this is going to be our story no matter how we try to position it or not. This is going to be the story that is told. And you want to be on the right side of history, and we can all choose. Now, I'm not saying that anybody here has the power to do that, but I'm just putting that out there because I don't think it's said enough, because people are afraid. But, you know, I'm 50 years old. I just stopped giving a shit a long time ago. So I just like to speak truth to power, say it plain. Sorry for the little kids that's out here running around. But we have, I'm not going to touch you because it's going to look weird. So we're going to fist bump. But give praise to like young curators and young voices like Victoria. And, you know, and keep fighting the good fight and keep doing what you're doing here, because this is a beautiful museum. And these are uncertain times, but not necessarily scary times. These are times of opportunity and times where we can truly make a difference. We can change the narrative if we are willing to change the narrative. Let's not be afraid. Let's go boldly. Is that a Star Trek quote? Is it, I'm about to get into Star Trek? Anyway, I'm gonna cut that off right there. Let's go boldly into this future and move on ahead.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. I feel like...
I got you, babe.
I got you, babe.
You want to do the song?
I'll...
Guitar Man!
I'll dance.
No, actually, I don't want to be Sunny because he hit a tree skiing. He didn't go out. I thought he would. But I know you said it back there. You agree with it. You see it happening. Well, you've seen it happen. And it's happened to a lot of people. And it needs to be talked about in the public forum, I think, a lot more than most people are talking about it.
I agree. I feel like in my role here, I just am committed to committing. And especially with Colescott, I was just like, people are going to feel how they feel, but this is so timely. We need this like right now. We needed this maybe yesterday, but...
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, like, it takes time, but now we just don't have time. Time is a luxury that we don't have.
Oh my God.
Because we have to start, you know, again, like reactionary revolution is not a revolution at all. It is just we can't be reactive. We have to be proactive. You know, and that's how you get to jump on everybody else. But you can't be so proactive where you start making black Targaryens, because that wasn't, black people did not ask for black Targaryens.
We did not.
In Game of Thrones. Well, I didn't ask for that. I was like, this is gonna make all the black people happy. It's like, no, it didn't. Because where are they later on in the show? I mean, this is a prequel. Where are the black people at now? It's just gone. Yeah, they're like, yeah. There were a lot of misguided attempts to force this dialogue. But then a forced dialogue is almost as bad as a reactionary one. Just, okay, it's like catching a mouse in a trap. Not the glue traps, because I think they're inhumane and should be abolished, but the quick snap ones. Like, okay, first you put some crab plastic cheese on there, it doesn't work because the cheese is plastic and the rat knows this. Then you might want to go for a nice sharp cheddar, or you might want to go for a nice Stilton straight from London, or perhaps some Limburger from the canton of, no, anyway. But anyway, I'm just saying, whatever it is you have to use the right tools in order to get the right results. But, because we live in this world, and I'm not going to start talking about capitalism because everybody needs to pay rent and eat. Capitalism is always going to be around us. I mean, I'm not advocating for a socialist revolution, because if we were all kind to each other and we all gave, that would be a form of socialism.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to stop people from making, I don't know if you really need $1 billion. But if you do, you need $1 billion. Like, if you need to have $1 billion worth of Epsom salt that came from the tiny peak of Mount Everest that was formed in the caldera of Mount Rainier, so be it. Wait, does Mount Rainier, it's an active volcano, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard somebody told me, my friend Nagar told me the other day, that if that thing ever erupted, all of Tacoma will be wiped out in one fell swoop.
Yes.
So I would like to be here for that time. And we will stand hand in hand as that firestorm embraces us all. But mine will be a clone, because I will be in a car speeding. Hold together, people. We can embrace the storm. Like, Umar, you're here. It's gonna be glorious. No, it's not. It's just a facsimile. Anyway, I would actually stand here with you and take that puff of smoke. But should we open it for questions now? Or where are we on time?
It's 7. Okay.
We can keep going. I just think that, I never like to take too much of people's time.
I agree.
Because, never be verbose. Like these talks, like if you want to read about, if you want to hear some verbose language about Colescott, you can just read that on Wikipedia.
Not Wikipedia.
But talking to people who knew his work, and curated shows of his work, it's just, I just want to get your opinion of what you think about this show, or Colescott in general, or whatever, because, I do my thing. I'm actually working on a new show right now. The Epoch of Totalitarianism is basically based on the Napoleonic, after what happened after the French Revolution and before Napoleon became Napoleon. So that interim period, because I've discovered in my research of history that, and again, I'm going back to reactionary revolutionary activity. When you have a revolution and you haven't figured it all out, there will be a time where people will go crazy, like they did in France during the terrorists. They cut off so many heads. Like, first it was Marie Antoinette and Louis the 15th. And then it just, boom, it just spread out until the revolutionaries had to check the revolutionaries. And then what you have then is a chaos pit, and then Napoleon came out of that working on behalf of the Commune, the Paris Commune, and then, well, actually no, it's Louis Philippe, sorry, go back. So Napoleon ended up working with one half of the revolutionaries against the Jacobins, and then he blew them all to hell with his knowledge of artillery, and then he became a dictator. That's how we get dictators. Because we don't see it all the way through. We speak, we leap before we think. You have to think about things, and it takes time. And I know we only live this one life, and we all want to see, it is our selfish ambition to see our lives be great before our eyes, but that's not the way life works. Life is a slow process. Justice is cosmic, but it can't happen if we were willing to wait just a little bit till we can fine-tune things. So anyway, that's the story that I'm doing, and you'll see it around. I'll be in Korea next if you guys want to see me.
I have to apologize. We had a whole slide of Umar's work. If you haven't seen his work and just couldn't get the projector right, but please check out Umar's work. There's so much, not so much, but there's some through line with you and Colescott that I find really interesting.
The storytelling, the way he uses landscape and the travels that he's made. He's, next to Hieronymus Bosch, like he's one of my go-to people for inspiration, and he just made really lovely work. And you know what, another thing is the way you, okay, this is about you, but the framing is so nice, because these are works on paper, right?
Oh yeah, they came like this. This is from Bloom. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they just put me in the street.
By now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the blade. Anyway, I'm gonna have to sharpen up the
good old Mike.
Yeah, it's like, oh yes. Yes. No, well, Palumba's now closed, and it'll be hard for me to find them in the street. I'll have to track them down. Kind of like a Rambo, Stallone, Brian Dennehy sort of a situation. Rambo 1, 1980. Terrible film. I just watched it the other day. Shall we open it up for questions?
We shall.
Yes.
You can go first, that's fine.
Well, we're gonna be nice to each other, aren't we? Is there some significance, and I'm just learning about the work, and I really appreciate it going through it all, because it is another artist, I'm just kind of fascinated by it. But is there some significance with numbers in some of his works? I see him referring
Numbers. It wasn't.
Isn't too, like, number 5 is very clear, and even in the
Wait, where do you see the number 5 in this one? I didn't see it. In the middle. And, oh, no, that's all right.
Oh, 05.
But then I also saw some of the almost Catherine John type numbers. Maybe it was just me looking at them there.
Oh.
One in the middle.
But you know what? I will tell you this, as a working artist, sometimes if you're drinking, you're just gonna, you're not like drinking through the whole painting, but when you revisit it and it's like, oh man, I gotta pay this bill. Like sometimes it just happens. But I never associated Colescott with any form of numerological practice. Yeah, hey, if you come up with something, that's a book. That's a book. And I'm not even talking Audible. I'm talking hardcover. Thank you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go, please.
No, I have to formulate it back in my mind now, so go ahead.
Oh, okay.
How important was it to kind of deal with the
Yeah.
And so we're dealing with black personhood. It even takes personhood to be problematic, right? And then also, like the humor. There was so much that was going on during the time period he was making this work that was very serious.
Yes.
Black art was very serious. And I think it takes agency to have humor. It takes agency to be problematic in lectures. It takes agency to get into abstraction or to even paint a cake.
Yeah.
So how much of that personhood is like really what you're dealing with?
Oh God. I mean, do you want to start this? I mean, I can start it off. For me, I had to talk to the people who asked me to do this show. I was like, do you really want me to tell you everything that I see that's wrong with a lot of this work? And so after talking about it with JJ, who's like the Colescott scholar expert, wonderful, brilliant mind, and she said, yeah, she has heard it before, and it was difficult at first, but then, I mean, what's done is done. I can't take anything away from them, but it was hard at first, but I think it was made more difficult by the way that we react again in this day and time. So it's like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I still listen to R. Kelly.
Umar.
I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm from Chicago.
Oh.
But R. Kelly, terrible human being.
The worst.
Terrible human being. But you have to be able to. Pardon?
Just getting really.
Yeah, but it's hard. I mean, I don't blame. I mean, because if the goal in life is to want people to have some form of redemptive arc, then we cannot throw people under the bus to crush them before they had a chance of redemption. What is the point of saying you want redemption and not offering redemption? You know, it's not me to judge. I mean, you can like who you like, or you not like who you don't, or you not like who you like, but I'm not judge, jury, and executioner in most people. I mean, I've done terrible things, I'm sure, but I mean, I don't think that I've done terrible things. I'm pretty sure, like, remember that time where you're like, oh yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know that I did that. But in Colescott's case, I mean, I can't imagine being a black painter in the 60s. I can't imagine. I mean, it's hard being a black painter in the 2000s.
For real.
And I can't imagine being a black painter in the 60s. So I'm willing to give him some leeway. But if you're asking if it was difficult to put his work together and not feel anything, no, I felt everything.
I agree. I have often said in doing this, I felt, and maybe, I don't know if it's the millennial in me where I'm like, this is so freeing. I love this kind of freedom of expression that Colescott has. And again, he was an artist in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, and until the 60s, he's passing as a white man to, but that's because of his family was passing, Great Migration, they all moved to Oakland not all. Colescott's born in Oakland. His mom and his dad moved from New Orleans to Oakland. His dad's working as a porter in the railroads. His mom is momming, but they're both musicians. They're both musicians. And his mother is very against this idea of admitting you are black, and his father is having a harder time with it because he's more it's in his features. It's harder for him to pass as black, and Colescott and his brother are passing for a bit. Colescott steps into himself. I mean, the personhood's all in it, and that's what I found the most interesting. I really loved diving into those pieces of the artist because I feel like you can't I don't think you can really understand an artist without like tapping into that personhood. And because Colescott was so complex, I found so much of myself in Colescott, where I was like, oh, I might not have gone about it like this or done it like that, but I totally get that. Like
Yeah.
I totally get this expression.
Yeah, no, don't shoot the messenger. I mean, he did what he had to do what he had to do. And it's not an excuse, but it's what happened.
That's life.
Have you reformulated it? Okay.
Two questions, but
All right.
okay, so I sit here and I listen to you, and I'm not talking about Colescott per se, but I'm talking about your own experiences, because I hear you say, am I gonna have a job after this, or am I gonna be work, or is this gonna be the end? And so that's what formulated this question I have.
Okay.
So knowing that the institutions are white, right, and we are in a space because black folks have been invisible to a lot of folks for so long, do you feel like when they said just make it happen, that, and your question is coming, is for both of you, do you feel as if you had enough institutional supports in the places that you went from, not just the people, but not from the higher ups, from like the directors and things like that? Do you feel like you have enough support when it comes to putting the exhibitions together, or if there was any like programs or anything, and you needed people to come, but you knew the community was coming, but you needed that institutional support that you were working on, just to be there for you, to, it's like a pat on the back, but to also actually give you a sigh of relief that you have done what you said you were going to do, and you could live another day to know your job was great, and you can help someone else along the way.
Well, I mean, that's always been my MO since the beginning. Like, I just recently started curating, so I'm not as accomplished as.
But I heard you say it.
Yeah. I'm not as accomplished as my co-host for Don't Be a Reactionary Revolutionary Daily.
Oh my God.
So I came up in the art world, but it is incumbent upon the individual to share and to bring people along, because the one thing about accomplishment that people never talk about, the reason why I don't celebrate a lot of people in my life, or people who I think I'm supposed to celebrate, is because you are nothing if you don't bring anybody with you. If you're there all by yourself on the dais, shining in your crowning glory with your laurel leaf and grapes around your genital region, you've done absolutely nothing. Sorry, I was trying to give it an old Olympiad kind of thing. But the thing is, if you arrive at a place and you don't have a person next to you, then you haven't arrived anywhere. You just moved further in the desert.
I agree with
Did you
that.
get that institutional support?
Okay, now the institutional support, but see, I never got, it comes when it comes, and it doesn't come, but I don't rely on it. I make sure that if I'm gonna bring some people along, I make sure that I create that space to, it's just like if we were underwater and you blow a air bubble for somebody else to breathe. You don't need anybody else to do that. You can do that on your own. But the institutions, they'll never support. The institutions have to always play to their donors and the people who support them. And I wouldn't have them jeopardize their whatever they need to do. The institution's going to do what the institutions need. And that's why, museums and institutions are always reliant upon donations, upon, people coming in. So if you got the right donations, it's good. But I remember I can't put them on blast like that. But I remember I would, but this is being recorded and they're going to see this and I don't want to get shot. But I worked with an institution some years ago, and their major benefactor was the most hideous human being I had ever seen in my life. Oh, not hideous physically. You know, he was a well-formed man, an agent, but not like Quasimodo. But anyway, he got into a intellectual conversation with a famous Dutch architect and got owned, like hardcore. So all the enmity that I felt for him in that moment dissipated because he got his comeuppance in a way that I couldn't talk about because I was working with the person who was gathering the money from that person. So in a way, it's just like, if you're gonna do something, make sure again, like cover all your bases. You know, certain people they should do the right thing, but they probably can't or are afraid to. But you should not let that be a roadblock to getting it done. Always complete the mission. Always get it done. No matter how you have to do it, always get it done. I always get it done, unless I don't. But I usually always get it done. If I set my mind out to do something, it's getting done. Like today, drinks. Today, crab legs. Straight oyster, a whole thing of oysters from the Puget Sound. Now, if anybody thinks that I shouldn't do this, raise your hand. Wait, is the Puget Sound oyster, are they pretty terrible?
No.
Oh. Ruinous. Okay, well, scratch that, but get it done. But no, wait. You didn't give the follow-up question.
Yeah, I really agree with what you said. I feel like, God, this has been my whole museum career. I've been here since I was 21. I am now 30. I shouldn't have said,
Wait,
can
30?
you edit that from the?
Did you say 30 or 38?
I'm 30.
You 30?
I'm big.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So
That's nice.
But in coming to work and at the museum, I really had one goal in mind. Before I started working here, I saw 30 Americans. And that's when I came across.
You saw it in New York?
No, I saw it here.
Wow. Wait, 30 Americans came here?
It came to Tacoma Art Museum. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And I was like 19. I was the president of the BSU, and I was like, we ride. It's like the height of like Trump. Trump is like in presidency, his first term. And we were just like feeling that energy. But I saw Carl Walker's work. I saw Colescott's work for the first time. I saw Kerry James Marshall.
Colescott was in 30 Americans?
Yeah.
I always boycotted that show because I wasn't in it.
For me, it was such a like eye-open. It was just like, wow, we are out here, we are doing this. And I was just like, I did not understand that it was not TAM's collection. So I was like, I want to work there, and I want to do the Black thing there. I got here, and I was like, where 30 Americans at? It was not here, but I was just like very committed to Black artists. I felt like there was an absence of, and that's really kind of how the Current was born. I was working in education at the time, and I was having a lot of back and forth with my supervisors at the time. It was just like this refusal to do things for Black artists. And so at the time I was pushing for like, can we acknowledge Black artists at least during Black History Month? Like, can we just do maybe that? And it was just like, no, it's too late. And no, we didn't get that together. And then I ended up approaching Jess actually in the annex or our little whatever. And I was like, could you share with me our like collection, like the database? She was really kind, she shared it with me. And at the time, Margaret Bullock was our chief curator, and I was like, I have an idea for a project that was not yet the Current, but I wanted to highlight the absence of Black artists in our institution, what we had, what we didn't have. And so that kind of became like a little project throughout the museum, and it was really—
That's beautiful,
yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, all it takes is one person with courage
Totally.
to set something along, along the lines. Like, if everybody's got their heads in the sand, I know why your head's in the sand. But it can get cut off while it's in the sand. And the last thing you'll see is a dark hole. Put that in your history books. Wait, one question here.
You said something about intermission, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're in a jungle and it's just you,
Yeah.
and you have to single-handedly bring down a Sikorsky two-bladed helicopter, what makeshift devices do you use to bring down said helicopter?
Well, given my
Oh my God.
given my MacGyver knowledge and knowledge of all things projectile, first, a Sikorsky, how high in the air is it? Is it hovering?
Apparently, yes, it's hovering. Maybe you have a bow, an arrow. That
Well,
might help you in this undertaking.
given the time, it depends if I'm it depends on what jungle. There's natural latex around. I would create a very large rubber band and sharpen a tree branch, and then make a sort of not a trebuchet but a ballista to take down said helicopter.
Precision that's available there as opposed to blunt force. I like that.
Yes, I do not use blunt force. Blunt force. I use my imagination.
Yes.
Yes. Why? Why? But so yeah, that. How would you handle this situation? Feels like we're on like a pageant now, like
Where I'm like, I don't even know what that
Miss
is.
America, like. Well, I love straps in the.
I was like, I don't know what that is. Can I
At
say-
Sikorsky, it's like one of those, it's a Russian helicopter, but it's not like killer hair. It's like where people go around in. You've seen them.
Okay. Well, I'm
Like, watch the session. You'll see some Sikorsky.
I'm just gonna say persuasion of word and love, and I think maybe that'll do it for that.
So then your gravestone will read,
Yes.
okay.
Indeed. Indeed.
Like, I just had to, like, I just told you, this was like, for you to chew through this latex, we could have got it down. Are we together?
Oh, I mean, sure. Why not?
All right.
And I'm
well,
following.
Nope. Don't follow me. Because what I'm doing is risky. You only get one shot, Eminem. Okay. So, see, this is what makes these talks enjoyable. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Michael, for that question.
But the Sikorsky with the cannons on it, game over. Anyone else?
This question is for you, Victoria. I think that in this show, all the other shows in the current, something that exists in all of those is the pink walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, fuchsia, your categorized as pink or fuchsia. Do you see that?
Yeah, is it fuchsia? Let's get a consensus.
Magenta.
Magenta. Fuchsia's just like a little brighter. Okay, sorry.
Putting yourself into the work of the artist, or is it a sense of protection for your system of logic in every show, or is it just kind of you wanting to add that type of pop of color to things? But I've seen different shows in here, and it kind of combines in each one of those shows. And I like color balls too, but I've noticed that yours are consistent.
Is all the above an option for
Right.
Is it?
Was it? But wait, do you always put magenta in your show?
No, but I do always. There's maybe not.
No, because
must.
well, I'll tell you why it makes sense for me. Like, you have red and blue, and like there's a reddish element and a bluish element, and everything except for that. So it kind of, it makes the work just,
You know
yeah,
what
it blends and then pops because of the white frame. Yeah, I mean,
For me, for
but I'm sorry,
No.
I digress. wasn't my questions. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down.
no, for this particular show, Colescott's favorite undercolor was magenta.
Oh.
And so, I mean, this work back here, we tried to get something pretty close to that, like magenta on the walls, and it really just brings it out because that's what he was doing. And for me, I just think that pink is such an inviting, warm color. And when I think about like a space that to like bring Black artists in and make sure they're comfortable, but also invite folks into the space, I just find that pink can be a very to me, it can be gender neutral, but it also like just makes you curious and makes you want to, why is that wall pink? But last year, we didn't do pink. Aisha Harrison is here. They were one of our artists in the current. Aisha creates these amazing, like, figurative sculptures. They are a ceramicist.
Oh, I would love to see that.
But
And there was no pink?
it was all blue. It was blue.
What color? Like a navy or like a portrait blue, like old school, like? Oh, like that one?
Yeah, the darker one.
Oh. That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, okay.
But I feel like pink is such an inviting color. And
It's bold.
It's bold. It's
very
like, I'm
bold.
here.
Like it's, yeah, I mean, it makes this exhibition, not only with the work inside, but it makes it just like, when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is it. Because then there's the other room, the gossip room as well, that you curated. And, you know, it's like these bold colors. It really, I think, you know, it helps enhance the, you know, what it is.
Thank you. I like to play with colors.
Yeah.
I'm very colorful person.
Dynamite high five.
Oh, heck yeah.
Do you use colors in your exhibitions?
I try not to. I'm like a saltine on the inside.
But your work has so much.
Yeah, because my work is like so much color. I just try to keep it bland. But it's also because I don't feel like I should use so much color because I really want people to look like just solely at the work. And I try to recreate these 18th century, like if it was a futurist exhibition in the 18th century gallery. So it's like the work itself provides the color and the background should be as milk toast as possible. It's okay.
No, I love that you.
Say what you will.
I love that you
No.
said
I'm just
that,
saying.
though.
I know you did. I
I
saw
feel like
that.
I like
snark.
personally struggle with the white cube,
Yeah, but
but I get it because sometimes, like, not everything in here. Like, I couldn't imagine.
But the way you did it was so tasteful because there are white walls. This orange, I haven't even seen this color orange.
Oh my God,
And,
that
you know,
is
a flat orange, and then it just boom. That makes that painting pop out. And I didn't have that in my well, I will tell you this too. Is this still being recorded? Because they didn't let me put the they didn't let me color the walls.
Oh,
But they're not terrible human beings.
And this is, I maybe overheard this in the previous visit. Is this true that this is one of the last paintings that he did?
yes.
We came in late, so he was suffering from, so maybe you guys already mentioned, so he was suffering from dementia, correct, when this is the case?
Parkinson's disease.
Yes, so even in that case, right, like this color that you're talking about is still the thing that is true,
Still true to.
consistent throughout, so it's just interesting. I mean, anyway, I thought I'd overheard that was, you know, he was in a state of decline when this was happening, so it's
Well,
interesting that you
yeah.
pointed that out, because I exactly know that you're one of the best curators under 40 in the country.
Oh my God.
And I am happy to be your foil.
No, thanks, guys. Stop.
No, I am happy to be your foil anytime. And you got anything going on, call me up. Because I'll just be at the studio just cooking up this hotness. But you miss what I was talking about. Like, you know, this is kind of like the end result of most artists. Like, everybody goes into like collage or abstraction because most of his work was figurative up until, you know, he couldn't do it anymore, but he was still painting. So that's also a telltale sign when you know someone's on their way out. Figuration, I mean,
Abstraction.
Abstraction, yeah. Yeah, so shall we? Thank you very much.